The Institute of Contemporary Art examines the issue of migration in its latest exhibition. Placed in the hands of artists, some who are migrants themselves, the subject is a mixture of memory, meaning, and mortality. According to the United Nations, there are nearly 71 million people worldwide who've been forcibly displaced, including nearly 30 million refugees. For them, home might be a colossus of what they left behind, or hazy wisps of memory.
This is by the Korean artist Do Ho-sa, and all of his work is really engaged with places that he's lived. And you can see all of the amazing detail, the outlets and the door handles and the lights, really evocative of something that is both kind of present and not present.
Ruth Erickson is the curator of this exhibition at the ICA, which looks at migration through contemporary art. A show of works by artists observing the globe's record level of displacement. It's called When Home Won't Let You Stay, a line from a poem by Somali-British poet Warsan Shire.
Home is, each person probably defines that slightly differently, but I think it brings together the real and the symbolic in really strong ways.
We met Erickson in an installation by English artist Yinka Shonobare called The American Library. It features more than 6,000 books, all lavishly bound. Each sports a name embossed in gold.
All of those individuals are either first or second generation immigrants, or they're individuals who had moved from the south to the north during the Great Migration.
Deeply immigrant stories, presumably, and Donald Trump's name is to be found here.
That's right. Due to the kind of very divisive rhetoric right now around immigration in particular, he also added in names of people who, in his mind, were really actively kind of working against immigration.
This is an exhibition of deep contrasts. The short film Western Union's Small Boats captures the sun-drenched glow of an idyllic Mediterranean island where tourists take holiday, and where migrants from North Africa land, if they're lucky. In an adjacent gallery, La Mer Morte, the Dead Sea, a sculpture of blue clothing by French artist Kader Attia.
Inevitably, when you see that clothing, you think of the bodies that it used to clothe and the ways in which it's strewn on the floor and kind of twisted. You get a sense of bodies that, are no longer living.
We've been asked a lot, what is our polemic? What are our politics?
That should be left to the artists, says ICA Chief Curator Eva Raspini. There was debate about the show at the museum, she says, not about the politics at play, but how to tackle such overwhelming subject matter.
Eventually we dove in and said, this is such a huge topic. This exhibition can't be comprehensive. We found value in thinking deeply about the topic of migration through the lens of art.
What do you see surfacing in terms of how this is represented in art?
Artists are not historians. They're not journalists. They don't have the responsibility to bring forward facts and figures. But I think they have a role to play in our society.
The ICA went big for the show with large films, sculpture, and paintings that fill galleries physically and emotionally. Mexican artist Camilo Ontiveros created this looming sculpture out of the belongings of Juan Manuel Montes.
The first recipient of DACA to be deported under the Trump administration. These are real people, these are real stories.
Some of the works are pretty brutal here.
Brutal is the right word for a couple of them. Richard Moss's kind of epic 3-channel video installation, Incoming, which traces the migrant routes of refugees from Syria and North Africa to Europe through some pretty brutal experiences over water and in refugee camps. I don't see a way that we can do this show or address the topic of migration without including artworks that take your breath away.
What couldn't be taken by migrants on the move fills this gallery. First, there's the photography of Richard Misrak, a California artist who makes routine trips to the Mexican border wall, where he's an archaeologist of modern day, says curator Ruth Erickson.
He's really interested in what are the sort of traces of human passage on the landscape. How can we know of the events that have happened there even if we can't see those events?
Misrak collaborates with Mexican sculptor and composer Guillermo Galindo, who creates these massive musical instruments, also from found objects.
For instance, the tire would have likely been dragged behind Border Patrol trucks in order to smooth the sand to be able to look at where people are crossing. The boot, the glove, the targets, the horn, the jawbone, even the lumber itself. And in this case, to make Zappatello, he's actually using Leonardo da Vinci's drawing of the mechanized hammer. This actually is a crank, and so if you crank this, you can imagine these levers go up and down and bang on this like a drum.
All for a beat and a march that seems to have no end.